Good after, Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our reading hour today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate. Wanted to have a shout out to the Swissotel colleagues that are on the call today as well. I know you're being safe and staying at home, which is the plan here in Chicago. And we've got some great stories to share with you today. Today's storytelling is going to be supported by Big City Readers, of course, Swissotel Chicago, and SOS Children's Villages of Illinois. And the stories are going to be a lot of fun. They're going to be about developing trust, care, compassion, sincerity, and love, and keeping families together. And most of all, fun. And right at this moment, I'm going to introduce the Chief Executive Officer for SOS Children's Villages of Illinois, Tim Mccormack. Tim?
Ed, thank you so much. Very proud to be here and so happy. When you tell the story of SOS Children's Villages, part of that story has always been the Swissotel in making us stronger and wonderful. So we want to thank and a shout out to everyone at the Swissotel. Also to the donors who are joining us, the SOS families online to hear the stories. I think we know someday this will be over and we'll tell this story of how we got through it. And we'll remember this moment of coming together to share a common story that inspires and gives us hope, just as Ted said. And so I'm very honored and very appreciative. Our storyteller, Miss Beth, will join us in a second, but for everyone, she's very familiar because her parents were fostering for many, many children. And so as she tells her story, she tells it in the context of knowing who we are and what we do at SOS Children's Villages. So Ms. Beth, thank you so much. And we look forward to these engaging stories.
Thank you. Hi, you guys. Welcome to my house. I'm stuck inside too, but I'm so glad to be here with all of you today. And I thought we could start with a little song. At Big City Readers, all of our story times are about coming together with our family and our friends. So we're going to say hello to all of our friends, even if we've never met before. And we're going to do something called signing today. And we're going to just do a few signs as we greet each other, even though we can't see each other, but you can sing it to anybody that's in your house right now, or just to me. And it goes like this. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Hello. Well, today I brought one of my very, very favorite stories, and it's called Thank You, Amu. And if you want to sign thank you, it's like this. Thank you. I like to sign to communicate with my friends that use different ways to speak, like their hands. But it's also a fun thing to practice with little ones who are learning to talk, because it helps us get to the word faster, because we can move our physical movements a little bit quicker than our verbal skills. So it helps us understand. So you can sign thank you with me. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very, very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned the stew and she stirred the stew and she took a teeny tiny taste. Ah, what a delicious stew, Amu said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I've ever had. It looks so delicious to me. So with that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. It's another word for dinner. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent went out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door, she saw, who do you think it is? A little boy. Hi, little boy. Little boy, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell. What is it? Thick red stew. Stew, he said. That sure sounds yummy. Do you think Amu is going to share with the little boy? Thumbs up if you think yes, thumbs down if you think no. She's gonna save it. It's too delicious. I would save it, I think. So Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It wouldn't hurt to share. Would you like some? The little boy nodded. Yes, please. And so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from a big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the little boy said, and he went on his way. And with that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent went out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door, this time she saw, who do you think it is now? A police officer. Mrs. Police Officer, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell. What is it? What is it? It's my thick red stew. Ah, stew, she said, her mouth watering. That sounds mighty tasty. I'm getting hungry reading this. So Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. Would you like some? The police officer nodded. Yes, please. And once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. And the police officer said, thank you, Amu. And she went on her way. And for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent went out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until, who could it be now? Do you have any guesses? Again, someone was at Amu's door. This time when she opened the door, she saw, let's see if you were right, a hot dog vendor. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was selling my hot dogs down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell. What is it? Thick red stew. Ooh, stew. The vendor licked his lips. That sure sounds quite delectable. What do you think delectable could mean? That's a big word I haven't heard before. He really wants it, so it must mean it sounds good, really good. So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the hot dog vendor said, and he went on his way. Amu is sharing so nicely. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker. Even the mayor stopped by. And each time they knocked, Amu shared. But soon the sky darkened and the streetlights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Amu opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Oh, how do you think Amu's feeling? I would feel really disappointed. Oh, I can tell she does too. Amu sniffled. There goes the best dinner I ever had. Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until Who could it be? Amu wondered. When she opened the door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker, everyone she fed that day was at her door. I'm sorry, everyone, Amu sighed. My thick red stew's all gone. I have nothing left to share. The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. Don't worry, Amu. We are not here to ask. We are here to give. And so the police officer carried in a fresh salad, and the mayor entered with a roast chicken, and the baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked that day on Amu's door squeezed inside her teeny tiny apartment, and together they ate and they danced and they celebrated. And while Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love. And that dinner was the best she ever had. Thank you, Amu. The end. Oh my goodness. I love that story because it's such a good reminder for me. Sometimes I forget. I think that I have nothing left to give, but no matter what we give to share with people that we love, that is all we need to do. And that's what all of them did. That little boy wrote a note, and that was all that Amu needed. So I hope you like that story. Thank you, Amu. And maybe you'll make some thick red stew tonight for dinner. Okay, I have a story about, I'm gonna do my silly story next. It's my favorite story. So if you've been to Big City Readers before, you've heard this story, and you know it's my favorite story because it teaches us so much about something called phonemic awareness, which is just a fancy word for saying our reading muscles. And we're gonna practice growing them. Even if we're little and we can't even talk, we're growing them by practicing rhymes, silly animal sounds, and things like that. So in this book, The Giant Jumperee, we're gonna practice that. Do you know what a jumperee is? I've never heard of a jumperee, but I do see that there's the word jump in it. So maybe that's a clue. The giant jumperee. What else do you see? Lots of my animal friends. The giant jumperee. This one's a pretty silly one, I want to warn you. Rabbit was hopping home one day when he heard a loud voice coming from inside his burrow. I'm the giant jumperee. I'm scary as can be. Help, help, cried Rabbit. What's the matter, Rabbit? Asked Cat. Oh, a friend is coming to help. How nice. There is a giant jumperee inside my burrow, said Rabbit. Burrow? What do you think a burrow is? Don't worry, said Cat. I'll help you. I'll slink inside and I'll pounce on him. Oh, wow, Cat is very confident. Walking up to the burrow. So Cat slunk up to the burrow. But just as she was about to slink inside, she heard a loud voice. I'm the giant jumperee and I'll squash you like a flea. Help, help, oh, Cat is not feeling confident anymore. Help, help, meowed Cat. What's the matter, Cat? Asked Octopus. What? That's not Octopus, asked Bear. There's a giant jumperee in Rabbit's burrow, said Cat. What do you think Bear's gonna say? He's gonna say, don't worry. I'll put my big furry paw inside and I'll knock him out. Wow. Do you think Bear will save the day for our friend? Thumbs up if you think yes. Thumbs down if you think no. This giant jumperee is too scary. I think Bear's pretty big. I think Bear will save the day. So Bear swaggered up to the burrow. But just as he put his big furry paw inside, he heard a quiet voice. No, a loud voice. Say, I'm the giant jumperee, and I'll sting you like a bzzz. What could it be? A bee. I can tell the author wants me to shout because these letters are capital letters. So I'm yelling. Help, help, bellowed Bear. What's the matter, Bear? Asked Elephant. There is a giant jumperee in Rabbit's burrow, said Bear. Don't worry, said Elephant. I'll wrap my trunk around him and I'll toss him away. Do you think Elephant will save the day? Elephant's even bigger than Bear. Let's find out. So Elephant stomped up to the burrow, but just as he put his long gray trunk inside, he heard what? A loud voice say, I'm the giant jumperee, and I'm taller than a tree. Oh my goodness, speaking of trees, the elephant was so scared, he jumped up into the tree. Oh, and who's there? Help, help, trumpeted Elephant. What's the matter, Elephant? Asked Mommy Frog. There's a giant jumperee in Rabbit's burrow, said Elephant. Don't worry, said Mommy Frog. I'll tell him to come out. No, don't do that, said all the other animals. He's scary as can be, said Rabbit. He'll squash you like a flea, said Cat. He'll sting you like a bee, said Bear. And he's taller than a tree, said Elephant. But Mommy Frog took no notice of them. She jumped up to the burrow and she heard, I'm the giant jumperee and you're terrified of me. I really am. How did they know? All the other animals backed away. But Mommy Frog wasn't scared. She said, come on out, you giant jumperee. You're the one we want to see. So I'm counting up to 3. Will you count with me? 1, 2, 3. And out jumped. I can't look. Who is it? Baby Frog. Hello, Mom. I'm the giant jumperee. Oh my goodness. And all the animals laughed. And she said, and you're coming home for tea. And they all went home. Oh my goodness. I was surprised to find out it was a teeny tiny frog. And I love this book because it reminds me, you know what? Some things feel scary, but we have so many friends to help us. And it doesn't matter how big or small you are, you can always be there for a friend. And it's not so scary. It was just a baby frog. So things that we think might be very scary might not be so scary after all if we really find out. That's just a teeny tiny frog. Okay, I actually want to take a minute to teach you a silly song about a giant jumperee, but we're going to call the giant jumperee what it is, a frog. And this is my favorite song to teach what I talked about earlier called Phonemic Awareness. And it's pretty silly. So this is for babies, toddlers, big kids, all ages, because it's just fun. And it goes like this. So I'm going to sign frog by putting 2 fingers on my thumb and under my chin, frog. Can you try that? Frog. It goes like this. I went the little green frog one day. I went the little green frog. I went the little green frog one day. And they all went, And then we can change it to whatever you want. But we know frogs go jumpy, jumpy, jump, jumpy, jumpy, jump, jumpy, jumpy, jump. We know frogs go jumpy, jumpy, jump. They don't go Super silly. Now, there's one other animal that is my favorite to do for this, and that was the bear. So to sign bear, we give ourselves a hug. Oh, I like to give myself a hug. And we kind of scratch our shoulders like a bear. And we're going to do a grr, grr. So we're sending this sound to the other part of our mouth, the back of our tongue. It's your job now to be strong. G, that grr sound comes from the back, not the in the front. Okay, you want to try it? Grr, grr, went the big brown bear one day. Grr, grr, went the big brown bear. Grr, grr, went the big brown bear one day. And they all went grr, grr, grr. But we know bears go huggy, huggy, hug, huggy, huggy, hug, huggy, huggy, hug. We know bears go huggy, huggy, hug. They don't go grr, grr, grr. And I also like to practice that song to help me self-regulate. So I practice that when I'm in a happy mood, and I practice getting like the really big emotion, like the bear's grr, grr. And then it can come down to, oh, okay, oh yeah, a huggy, huggy, hug. I might try it with stomp, stomp with the elephant. And then practice saying, you know what, actually elephants don't go stomp, stomp. They go, brrr. That helps me take a breath. So you might want to practice that too. Before we read our next story, we'll do one other thing. We're going to make a circle with our hands. And we're going to blow a big bubble. Are you ready to try it? Can you blow it a little bigger? A little bigger, a little bigger, and pop. We're gonna try it one more time. A little bigger, a little bigger, even bigger, and pop. Okay, my next story is called When You Are Brave. When you are brave. When you are brave. One of my friends just sent this to me. It's one of my new favorites for right now, because I feel like I have to be brave a lot when I miss my friends. Some days when everything around you seems scary, you have to be brave. Brave as a bird steps from its nest, hoping to soar through the sky. Brave as a dog that wanders for miles, searching for one well-known light. Brave as a caterpillar that builds a bed, wondering when it will wake. Brave as some days, because some days are full of things you'd rather not do. Like plunging into a pool all by yourself, hoping you'll swim and not sink, or standing alone in front of a crowd, searching for one friendly face, or boarding a bus and riding to school, wondering what lies ahead. At times like these, the world can seem too big, too loud, too hard, too much. And while you might feel too small, too quiet, too tired, not enough, on those days, look deep inside and find the courage that you need. It might be hidden away, but if you close your eyes and breathe, you will see it, shining its light in the dark, warm, steady, safe. Your light might be too small just to start, maybe even just a spark, but you can turn it into a flame. Picture it in your mind, and then imagine it becoming bigger and bolder. You can make your courage so big that it brightens your heart, fills your fingers, and flows to your toes. Think about what you're good at, something that you love, or someone who loves you. No one else will see it, but you'll know that you glow. And you'll know that you are ready. And no matter how deep the water, or how loud the crowd, or how hard the ride, or how much there is to do, you might struggle, you might succeed. People might clap, or they might laugh, or not notice at all. But no matter what happens, you'll be all right. Because once you find your courage, it's easy to use it again and again. And the next time life seems scary or you start something new, you can remember when you were brave. And then you can stand straight and walk tall, knowing you are as brave as a bird, a dog, and a caterpillar. As brave as you. The end. Well, I love that one. And I have just one more short story for you. But if you like any of these stories, they're all listed actually in my Amazon store. If you want a full list, it's amazon.com/shop/big city readers. I forgot to say that. So all of these stories are just linked there in a list. Okay, the last story is called Love. Love. And I like this one because it shows us all the ways there is love. Love. And a kitty and a doggy are making a little heart. Love. Love is a very fancy dinner. Is this a very fancy dinner? They're just teasing us. And love needs special presents, like books or cookies or pictures. And designer greeting cards. Love calls for bouquets of flowers. And must have the finest chocolate. Love sounds like poetry. Well, look at that. They're doing poetry in lots of places, on windows, on casks. And has a beautiful melody. Love comes in the shape of a heart and sparkles like diamonds. Love happens at first sight. And needs the tightest hugs. This is how we're hugging a lot of our friends these days, right? Love deserves to be shouted from the rooftops. They're shouting, I love you. Because nothing else matters without love. The end. All right, my friends, that is my last story for today. But I had so much fun reading with you, and I hope that you liked those books too. I can't wait to see you again. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Miss Beth. That was inspiring. And the heart with the last story means a lot to our colleagues at the Swissotel. We call them heartists. So it was a beautiful way for you to finish your speech. I have to tell you, I'm going to have red stew for dinner tonight. I'm hungry now.
Me too.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. I'd like to thank Big City Readers, of course, Swissotel Chicago, and SOS Children's Villages of Illinois. And I hope you enjoyed the stories today. Thank you for joining us. It was nice to spend some time with you. We have nearly 100 participants listening, which is really amazing. And I want you to know there's no charge for signing into the website today, and donations are certainly not required. And if you do donate, though, Swissotel will match your donations up to $5,000, and the money will be donated to SOS Children's Villages of Illinois as a result of the readings today. I want to thank you for joining us today, and say hello to your friends and family. Love your family. Really important, particularly in these challenging times, that we show the respect and love that each other deserves. Thanks, and have a great, great afternoon.